Okay, so let's start with our newspaper discussion. Already late. So, anything important on the first page? Let me see how many can tell at least. Huh? Yes, you want newspaper? Take this. Yes, anything important on this first page? Tariff on India. Okay, that's anyway continuing. That was expected to some extent. Okay, that's important. Anything apart from that? There's one news related to defection, if you can see. It's about Telangana. So is it important for us? No? It's very important for us. Even if it is about Telangana, it's very important. Okay. Anti-defection law, role of speaker, and the judgment by Supreme Court. There are clashes many a times. And this is something you need to know because of the separation of power and because of the misuse of power done by speaker many a times. So you should know these examples. Now, first of all, those who do not know, when we are talking about anti-defection law, any idea what is anti-defection? Or simply what is defection? What is happening, man? Very good, jumping from one party to the other party. So mostly when people get into any particular party, it is expected that you believe in the ideas of that party. The party propagates some ideology. They have some framework. They come up with a manifesto that we will bring this kind of thing if you bring us in power. Right? That was the main idea behind parties, that parties will have their own ideology. And that's why it's an association of many people. Right? Now what happens many a times, people jump from one party to other party just for the sake of some benefit if they can get. Okay. Now what happened, there was a time, especially when Rajiv Gandhi was in power. That was the time phase we observed when people were jumping, which we cannot even imagine. Like in one day, a person is changing party multiple times. Morning in one party, afternoon in other party, by evening he's in third party. Obviously they were paying really good. Right? Now when such a thing happens, what leads to this thing? What do you think is a drawback of this kind of a system? Because he's MLA or MP, let him go to whichever party he wants to. What's the problem? Huh? Confidence of single party what? Very good. So if let's say there's a party who has come to power, they're running the government, they expect that we will run government for 5 years. But suddenly because some members leave the party, go for other party, due to which the party might lose majority and they will not be in power. But is it the right or genuine reason for which we should stop such people from going to other parties? If government falls, let it fall. We'll make another government. What's the problem? Even if it happens recurrently, we have made a system like that, right? We have parliamentary system. We don't have presidential system that once you become president, you're 5 years there. We don't have that system. For prime minister, I'm saying, not for president, obviously. We have prime minister who is powerful or cabinet who is powerful. So they might change. It's not like they will have 5-year tenure as such. They have to remain with absolute or at least the majority that is needed. If there is no majority, they'll go. The problem is the misuse of this thing. There is no problem if someone wants to change the party. That's up to him. Problem comes into picture when they go for money. There's something called horse trading that takes place. Right? And there is a genuine concern from people also, because people sometimes vote a particular person because you belong to a party. Right? Then you change it. Right? But the major dimension is of that money dimension, horse trading dimension. Okay, and then it leads to instability, which is not good for the government. So government prefers that there should be some stability. So they brought one amendment to the constitution, 52nd constitutional amendment. And it also brought 10th schedule to the constitution. Okay, This 52nd amendment brought something that we call as anti-defection law. You cannot defect. Defect means leaving that party. Now, what it clearly says, what exactly happens if you defect, your membership will be cancelled or disqualified. But there are clear-cut clauses. For example, you belong to a particular party and you are member of parliament or MLA. Now, suddenly you have voluntarily given up your party membership. You said, I'm not part of this party. Now, your party members can go and file a complaint to the speaker that he has defected, disqualify him. Are you getting this point? You can get re-elected and then come to the this state assembly or this parliament. That's a different thing. But right now you will be disqualified. Yes? Second, if your party has announced a whip that let's say a very important bill is being presented by government and you belong to opposition party, they said you have to say no. You don't need to support this bill. So there's a party whip. And there you did not vote the way your party said. Then that also becomes legible reason for your party to file disqualification plea to the speaker. Okay, this is one clause which remains quite controversial because somewhere it is taking away the freedom of speech and expression, freedom of choice of that member of parliament or MLA. You're getting this point? Yes? So some people will argue this side, some people will argue, but you're part of the party. When you're part of an entire party, at least the basic thought process of all the members should be same. Otherwise, what's the role of that party? You become independent member. Why you are in a party? Okay? So these are any party. You became MLA independently, now you join any party, you will be disqualified. And if you're a nominated member, right? There are many nominated members. So if you're a nominated member, after getting nominated, in the 6 months, if you join any party, then that will also be a ground for your disqualification. This is clearly mentioned under this Amendment Act and this 10th schedule. Clear? Now there are some exceptions given. Number one, this law will not be applicable to speaker or the presiding officer. Let's say you became the speaker and now you decided that I'll leave my party. So he can do that, no problem, because anyway he's a speaker. So even if he voluntarily gives up his membership of the party, no problem. Then let's say some members go for merging the party. Sometimes we see one party getting divided into two. Shiv Sena incident, that was very common. Last year it was in controversy a lot. And many times we see party get divided. Even this happened with Congress also. So if let's say some members of the party, some members decide that we don't want to remain with this party, we'll make a new party or we go for a merger and all. Right? In that case, the law should protect them. Otherwise, what will happen if some people do not agree with the party high command? What will happen? Party high command will file disqualification plea against all of them if you don't listen to them. So bring in some democracy in that. What was done was, at least the merger part was allowed, that you will not be disqualified. But if 2/3 members of this party support this merger, that means 100 members are there, 2/3 of that member, if they want to take any decision, if they want to leave this party or go for a merger with other party, then they will not be disqualified. Clear? So these are grounds, these are the exceptions given. Now, when this disqualification plea is filed, it is filed to the speaker and not Election Commission and not Supreme Court. Right? So in this case, speaker acts like a quasi-judicial authority. Quasi means similar to, you can say. Okay, speaker although is not a judicial body, right? We have judiciary. But when it comes to disqualification case, speaker will act like a judiciary. He will go for investigation, he will go for giving judgment, etc. So he is the sole authority. And here, in whatever proceeding goes on, whatever speaker decides, Supreme Court has no role. Supreme Court cannot interfere in that, whatever the proceeding is, because we have separation of power. Okay? But after that, many times it was being observed that speakers in India, they are sometimes very much loyal to their party. And most of the time it happens that whoever is the ruling party, they try to ensure that the speaker is from their party, right? Because they have to take care of the legislature. Otherwise, any bill will come, right? Voting will not happen as per the will or the whim of the chief minister or prime minister. Suddenly you have to adjudicate, or suddenly you have to stop the session. So at least speaker should listen to you, right? And sometimes speakers misuse all these provisions. It has been observed many times, many cases are there wherein it was observed speaker giving wrong decisions, disqualifying people. This has also happened. Because of that disqualification, many times we have seen even fall of governments. That also happened, right? So Supreme Court said that in your proceedings, we will not say anything. But if you have taken one particular decision, you can, this decision can be challenged in the Supreme Court, because we have something called judicial review. Okay, we have Article 142 of the Constitution, which we have discussed many times, which says that for complete justice, court can just go against any law, any part, and bring its own judgment, a new judgment, right? And there they follow the idea of natural justice. Now, in this case, what happened? There's this case, very famous, Kihoto Holohan, in the year 1992. Very important case, you must know. In this case, Supreme Court said that the speaker's decision valid, but it is subject to judicial review. That means speaker can take these decisions. It is his authority for sure, but his decision is subject to judicial review. That means it can be challenged with judiciary. Okay. This is one important case. This other case, not so important, but here they said that when someone is voluntarily giving up his membership of the party. Let's say I'm voluntarily saying that I'm not part of this party now, right? Sometimes what member of parliaments do, they'll not say that I have left this party, but their behavior clearly shows that they are planning to leave, or they have already left mentally, but they're like behaving in that way. They'll start criticizing their party high command. They criticize party's policies. They criticize the members of the party, the president of the party, etc., etc. That thing, if that is happening, so it's a concerning thing for the party also, because legally they can't take any action, right? So here in this case, Ravi S. Naik, 1994, they said that if your conduct shows, your behavior, the way you are behaving, that can also be considered as a valid ground to understand that you have voluntarily left this membership of that party. Okay. But more than this, I would say this third case is more important. Kesham Mark Chandra case, 2020. Supreme Court recommends speaker to decide or make decisions or disqualification pleas in 3 months. Supreme Court, what happened is, one is speaker was misusing the power. Second, what they did many a times, if there is a disqualification plea against someone who belongs to the same party to which speaker also belongs to. So what speaker many a times they did, they delayed that procedure. Even if someone came to them that disqualify this member, it's completely up to speaker when to start the proceeding and all. So speaker is delaying 5 months, 6 months, 1 year, more than 1 year, 18 months, 20 months, such things were going on. Looking at this thing, Supreme Court said that you should have some timeline. So they provided this timeline of 3 months. But again, see this thing, there is this tussle, because speaker is the head of this legislature. He will do what he wants to, right? So there will be this tussle between two different institutions. Getting the point? Now what happened, why it is in news right now, is because of this issue of Telangana, wherein some MLAs, they defected from Congress to BRS in the year 2024, and it's been almost more than a year, nothing is happening. Speaker has not even started that proceeding. Okay, that's why Supreme Court is talking about this, that take this issue, start the proceedings. Getting the point? So is it a good news, bad news? It's a good news, but the issue is very bad, and there is a precedent. You will continuously observe speaker misusing the power. Okay, just remember this example. Now, with this, you will at least remember that something happened in Telangana. While writing answers, that example should be visible. Although content will be the same, whatever we discussed. Right? Now, what happens when there is delay? When there are delay, most of the times it is either to save these people, sometimes it is for the horse trading again. Some kind of financial transactions are happening, because of that also these things happen. Now, when you look at all these events happening with respect to any democracy, we see that they're completely going against the basic principles of democracy. The basic principles simply say that do not break the trust of the people. And here they're going against that thing. So that is one problem. Second thing, this almost always favors the ruling party. Even it is said about this anti-defection law that this was brought by ruling party to save ruling party. Are you getting this point? Because who is afraid of defection? It's the ruling party, not the opposition party. Yes? Good. Now, these are the words Supreme Court has used. The delays are constitutional death, etc., etc. Such lines. These are for your answer writing. Just read this part. Read the recommendation part. Sometimes recommendations are given by some scholars that what you can do is there should be a fixed time frame provided to the speaker. You make an amendment in the constitution, provide a fixed timeline to the speaker. That is one way. Second method suggested by some others. Supreme Court will say, don't give this task to speaker. Give it to some other tribunal. Okay. Now that tribunal could be either under Supreme Court or Election Commission. Right? Because you're disqualifying. That election dimension also comes into picture. So give this power to either Election Commission or Supreme Court. This is the suggestion given, or sometimes it is said that you make a new tribunal altogether which is relatively independent. Don't give this task to speaker altogether. Okay? So this is one suggestion. Then don't allow this whip procedure for almost everything. See, party will give whip. Party will say, you know, you don't need to vote today. You have to vote today. Whatever they want to say, they will give whip. They can come up with this whip anytime. Now it is said that because it restricts the freedom of speech and expression of the member, that is not a good thing. So better you do one thing. For protecting party, why you need this whip and all? You have to protect that party. So do one thing. Whenever there is no confidence motion, confidence or no confidence motion, which is very serious thing for the government, right? In that case, that whip dimension should be accepted. That means your party member will have to vote the way you want. Why? Because it is very important decision. But when it comes to normal bills or normal discussion that is taking place, there when you want to vote or you want to say something, allow that member of parliament to say whatever he wants to. Are you getting this point? That's why restrict this whip usage only for either confidence motions or the money bill. Money bill is also very important. If money bill is failed, if government is not able to pass money bill, that means government is going to fall for sure. Okay. This is one suggestion. And last is bring some ethics in politics. Although when we'll study ethics, then we might understand it better how politics and ethics can come together. Do you think it will come together? Okay. When you study ethics, then you will understand it can come together. It's a little difficult, but it can. So they expect some constitutional morality, political ethics, and inner party democracy. This is something lacking in India. In India, we have democracy in letter, to some extent in spirit also. But when it comes to parties, between different parties, we see some democracy. They are fighting, they are showing their dissent. But when you go inside the party, there is complete dictatorship, complete hierarchy. Whatever high command says will happen. Are you getting this point? So we need inner party democracy, which is relatively present in most of the Western countries is what we see. In India, that is lacking. This is a major issue with respect to India's democracy. Yes? You can remember all these dimensions? Good. So that's all about this topic. Any doubt? No? Next one, US tariff. Okay, we have discussed about US again and again. Now this article specifically, what they are showcasing, US has put the tariff. We all know why they are putting this tariff. They're trying to put pressure and all. Now, what US exactly wants? USA wants that India should open up its market more. We were having trade negotiation, and somehow that trade negotiation could not conclude because India was not ready to completely open or completely have very less tariff or a very less tax on these parts. Means USA wants that they want to sell their products in India with respect to these segments. India is concerned that our entire industry will collapse or our local producers, they will feel the burnt, and that is very risky thing. So India is not ready for it. So this includes dairy sector, medical devices, ICT products, agriculture, etc. Okay, they want it, so they're putting this pressure, putting 25% tariff. If you don't listen to us, then we'll put tariff. Right? That's how Trump negotiates. Right? Now, the article says, because of this 25% tariff, now what will happen is, we send some products to USA. Just like us, there are some other countries, Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, they also sell similar kinds of products. And because there is 25% tariff on us, they will get comparative advantage in the US market. These countries will take advantage of this situation. Okay, we will not get that advantage. Then the broader concern is, we were planning for a trade deal, for a free trade agreement with USA. Because of the behavior of USA, the way they are dictating their terms, this is creating some suspicion in the minds of India's policymakers. They feel that if this is the way they behave, why Trump is behaving this way? It's not like he's a bad person or something. It's his domestic politics. His domestic politics. He needs votes or whatever he committed to his people to get elected. He said that whatever I'll do, I'll ensure that I'll make America great again. To make America great again, I'll bring lot of money to America. How I'll bring? I'll put tariff, I'll do whatever. If someone doesn't make trade deal with us, we'll put tariff. And if they're ready to do this trade deal, they'll do the way we want. So anyway, I'll bring money. That he promised, that he's doing. So by the logic of completing the promises, Trump seems to be a good politician. Because in India, people forget what they promised. So by that logic, he's doing his task. But this is where the domestic politics is creating problems in the international relations. So when India is looking for a long-term relation with USA, going for free trade deal, going for more alignment to USA, instead of having more trade with other nearby countries, let's say Russia, Iran or some other countries, when we are looking at USA, because we have problem with China and America can support us, because security dimension is in our mind somewhere, right? Economic dimension is also there, because China will never want India to grow. So we need some partner. But looking at the way it is happening, this seems to be very uncertain. We don't know what choice they are going to make. Even if there is agreement, we don't know whether that agreement will be followed. Maybe in future, they'll again come up with something else. So there is this uncertainty. There is trust deficit. Trusting the other side, that is very important. That's where somewhere we see problem in India-US relationship. Getting the point? This is very important. Remember this dimension. Okay? Any doubt on this? This is a news in transition. Now let it continue. We don't know what will happen. What will Modi ji say? Whether we'll go for BRICS, whether we will support this, whether we will have free trade agreement, we don't know. This is something hardcore negotiation happening at top level. Okay? Done. Next, transforming early childhood care and education. This article, I suggest you people to read it once, just for the vocabulary part, just to get an idea about it. Basically, what they're talking about is, they're talking about new education policy, NEP 2020. In 2020, government brought a new education policy. Okay, now when it comes to this policy, it's a very comprehensive policy. You people will have to read it in detail. We're not going to discuss it right now over here because that's a very lengthy stuff. Okay, You have to read it. Education is part of your GS paper 2 also. In essay also they ask. And the content that you will get from this new education policy is something you can utilize almost everywhere in almost every paper. Somewhere something will be useful. Okay, so read it later on. Right now, specifically, this article is talking about early childhood care. Now, look at a child in the age group of 0 to 6. Now, mostly children get into the education after the age of 6, especially when we look at government schools. Class 1, class 2, class 3, it continues. In private schools, most of the time there is something called this KG, kindergarten and all those things, which is before this first class, there is something to take care of these children, or to at least teach them something that we call as very foundational literacy, foundational stuff, right? So there was some mismatch between government schools and private schools. First of all, government identified that. Now we saw that although there is no kindergarten when it comes to government schools, but there's something called Anganwadi which was already existing. Yes, so those children of this age 0 to 6, they were going to Anganwadi. Yes, the point is Anganwadis used to focus more on the health and nutrition dimension rather than education dimension. They were giving both. If you have ever visited any Anganwadi, then you will observe that thing, that the person in charge over there, they'll be teaching something to the children. They will also ensure that they eat healthy stuff. So they will, prepare that stuff at home and bring it there. All those things happen. So more focus is on the health part, nutrition part. Rather than health, nutrition is the right word, rather than education part. Okay. So now with this new education policy, they are saying that what we will do is, out of this 0 to 6 group, the age group of 3 to 6, this has to be separated now. We will look at 3 to 6 groups separately, 0 to 3 separately. Why? There is a trend that is being observed in the parents. What parents are doing right now, they also want children to go for some preschooling. They also want children to go for preschooling. Instead of just this Anganwadi and all, they want students to, before getting into first class, they should have this KG or some kind of system. So there is this trend that is being observed. Considering this trend and all these things, now government is saying, we will do one thing. We will have this preschooling stuff even in the government schools. We will have this. So for that, they're creating this Balavatika and all. No need to remember this stuff. Just understand what they're trying to do. They're focusing on this early childhood stuff, early age. This age group is very important. 0 to 3 or 0 to 6 entire. This age group is very important for the development of brain and development of that child. That's the foundational time when child is learning many things. Okay, especially when you study ethics, you will get to know about this dimension in detail. Or if you are from society or sociology background, there also you read about these stuff. So psychology, if you're reading, you'll understand the psychological development of the brain, or the way the child is learning from society. He's learning many values. This is the stage where the child is getting those foundational stuffs. Okay, so understand what government is thinking. Government is now thinking about these children also. At least one line if I have to catch from all this. New education policy focuses on this part. Okay. Now, next one. Advanced guided missile frigate delivered to Navy. Advanced we understand, technologically advanced. Guided missile also we can understand. Point is frigate, which people do not know. So you see, when Navy is operating, they have different kinds of warships. Ship, you understand? Warship means obviously you're going to use it for war, so it is equipped with whatever is needed for going for a war or fighting. Now those warships are of different types. Okay, one is called as aircraft carrier, one is called destroyer, frigates, submarines, and many more. These are the major ones. Aircraft carrier is the one which is the largest one which you can imagine any navy would have. Okay, if I could show you, yes, images. So here you see, this is the aircraft carrier. Smaller than that, this is cruiser, then there is destroyer, then there is frigate, corvette, and submarine is little different because submarine will remain submerged in the water. That's why the name submarine. Okay, it will not be at the surface level. It can come to surface level, but mostly it will stay submerged in the water. Okay, every specific warship has its own role. Okay, submarine will play a different role altogether. You can't track submarine very easily, so it can go anywhere, right? Then if you want aircraft carrier, it's like a large vessel which is moving for the war or fighting, right? If you want something which can move very easily, slowly it will go, like it will be very small, it will move anywhere and attack the enemy's aircraft carrier. For that you need a smaller one. So accordingly all these are made. One of that is this frigate which you can see. Okay, now coming to this particular frigate which is being discussed over here, the name is INS Himgiri, the name of this frigate. Okay, now any warship, anything these navy will have, those will be classified in different classes. They give a name, class. For example, this Nilgiri class, Shivalik class, Kolkata class, etc. Why the term class is because if let's say you're making a mobile phone and we have this series of mobile phone, right? When there is a series, that the mobile phones of this series are similar. Their design, their specifications, more or less they are similar. Their usage is very much similar. Similarly, things happen in Navy also. So if there are some ships, let's say there are 10 ships which are having similar kind of design, so we will give them a name that they belong to this particular class, like Nilgiri class. Yes? Now in this case, this INS Himgiri belongs to this Nilgiri class what we call as this frigate. Okay, and this was made under a project called as Project 17A. So Project 17A is a project which says that we are going to indigenously become very much self-sufficient. We are going to indigenously develop such things. Okay, so this frigate has been made in India. It's not something we have bought from some other country. Okay, for that this project came into picture. So this INS Himgiri is there. What are its features? Just basic thing if you need to know. Number one, its design is modular. Modular means you make small, let's say this is the size, let's say this is the size of the ship. We'll not make entire ship in one go. We'll make one part of it separately, this part separately, this part separately. So these are called modules. You will separately make it and then you will assemble it. Because of this, what happens, you can very easily make any such ship. It becomes easy. Modular design is what we call it. Okay, then ergonomic design means it is very, it has been made in such a way that those people who are going to operate it, the crew members and all, they'll find it very easy, very sophisticated. For them, it is really good. Then, good thing about it is delivered on time. It shows India's capabilities in terms of manufacturing such stuffs. Okay, India has developed it within time. Whatever time was said, in that time we have developed it. That was possible again because of modular design. Are you getting this point? No? Yes. So because those modules are there, easily we can make, easily we can assemble. That's why on time we can deliver it. And it is very versatile, multi-mission frigate. Multi-mission means if there is some enemy coming from, let's say, air, let's say some aircraft is coming, you can attack that using this frigate. This frigate is capable of attacking enemy threat from air, from land, from water. It is capable of that. That's why this multi-mission platform we can say it provides. Clear? Any doubt on this? So that's all. Okay, at least basic things you should know. What is this frigate? What is the name? Which class? And this project. Okay, that's it. Please ask if you have any doubt. No doubt? Very good. I like that. Chale.